Hello and welcome to this training on why every business owner needs a media kit. You're going to learn how to promote yourself for maximum visibility and credibility. I'm your presenter today, Susan Sparks. I've been a persuasive copywriting expert since 2010. I'm a 4-time author, 2 of which are Amazon bestsellers, and I've written over 24 books for other entrepreneurs so that they can be subject matter experts. I have an extensive background in journalism. I've been a newspaper editor, a news director for a radio station, and also worked in public affairs for the military. And so I understand the need for content from that standpoint. And then I also understand how this can benefit business owners in getting the word out about them and increasing their visibility. At the beginning of my career, I worked with a national speakers bureau. We represented Og Mandino. We were his exclusive representative. But it was also all the professional speakers that would be out, whether they were talking about mindset or organization or business strategies. Meeting planners would call us asking for someone that might be good to deliver a speech, and we would put together their materials and send that out to the meeting planner so that they could see who might be the best one. Today with the internet, those people are now searching online, and most professional speakers have their own media kits, everything ready to go, and don't really rely on a speakers bureau. And while your goal may not be to be a keynote speaker, there are so many opportunities within the media to still get out there and get that visibility, which gives you credibility and expert status. So the mainstream media, you could be a spokesperson on a particular topic, all kinds of opportunities on the internet, and then of course the speaking engagements, things like conferences, associations, or even just locally. And to prove my point, there's nothing that you can't really talk on when you're trying to be visible in the media. So this is a local hardware store owner who is on our news on a regular basis on everything that you can imagine, obviously toilets and more, but you can tie these opportunities into current events. You can be that expert commentator on television. You can do seasonal things as they relate to your business. If you have a book you need to promote or special events, then this is a great way to get your name out there. And the whole point of a media kit is so that you're prepared. And so the purpose of a media kit really boils down to just making that interviewer or meeting planner's job as easy as possible. The more information that you can provide, the easier it is for them to decide how you would fit in for their audience and what you can do to add value to their program or publication. So putting your media kit together now means you're prepared. There's nothing worse than having a conversation with someone at a networking event or over the phone, and they say, that'd be great. Can you do a presentation on that? Or can you speak to my audience about that? And you've got to say, well, yeah, let me get something put together. So do this now, even if you think there's no opportunities, because I'm going to show you ways at the end of this presentation where you can start getting your name out there, find those opportunities, and you'll be ready to go. So we're going to cover some of the basics of what goes into a media kit. And the beauty of this now, especially in the digital age, is you can kind of revise and take things in, take things out, depending on what you need. So it'll be a cover letter. We'll talk about your biography, the boilerplate, your speaking topics, suggested interview questions, and how to include tips or testimonials. And then a little bit too, depending on your product or service, there may be other things such as a press release or a book synopsis. So the cover letter is obviously your first part of this, and it's just a great way to introduce yourself. It talks about who you are, where your area of expertise is, and then you can talk about some of the subjects that might be helpful that you can present to their audience. It's somewhat of a sales letter, but it really is more just to introduce you, and as they go through the other parts of the media kit, how they can get to know you a little bit better. The next component should be your biography. So this is not a resume, and it's easier to write this in third person because that's how it's going to be written about in a print or a newspaper venue. And so you want to make it interesting. Tie it in with how it relates to your expertise. So make it more of an introduction. If you were sitting in the audience getting ready to hear the next speaker, you don't want to hear that Pixie Parker's been ice skating for 20 years, but it's much more engaging. You want to hear more if you hear Pixie Parker was dreaming of Olympic gold when she took her first skating lesson at the age of 4. Now we're drawn in, we want to hear. So make that with your biography as well. Another part of your media kit should be a boilerplate. So this is just 2 to 3 sentences describing you, your company, what you do, or who you serve. Examples of boilerplates, if you've read an article online, a lot of times it's at the bottom of the article. It tells a little more about who the author is. So that's going to be the same thing. This helps that event planner plug you into their program. They don't have to sit there and think of something to write up because they may not really highlight what you want them to. So the more you can provide them information-wise, the easier it makes their job, but it also is more an accurate portrayal of you. You also want to be sure that you have a professional headshot. So again, this needs to kind of match who you are. Obviously, Tim Ferriss over here on the far right is known for being kind of the casual business owner, so he gets away with that. But obviously, if you saw Zig Ziglar in a sweaty old t-shirt and a pair of jeans, you might not be as impressed. So make sure that that's a professional representation of you. Again, it ties into what you do and kind of relates a little bit about your personality. But don't do a selfie with your cell phone and have half of somebody's head cropped out on the side. Make sure that it's a professional headshot. Have that available so that they can drop that into their program or put it into the newspaper, whatever they're going to do to promote you. Make sure it's a great representation of you. Next would be your subject matter that you can talk on. So if in the case of someone going out and trying to do speaking engagements, workshops, that sort of thing, you're probably going to get a little more in depth on what the topics are and who the ideal audience is, what the main points that you'll be covering, and how long you can make it, whether it's a workshop or a keynote or a breakout session, that type of thing. If you're just trying to reach the media to be that spokesperson, to talk about when to take care of your yard, then you can kind of simplify this. But again, make sure you've got some topics that really speak to them instead of I can talk about everything gardening or I talk about landscaping. Have those topics in mind so that really puts you ahead of somebody else that might have an okay idea. You've got a great one. So more specific, something that you can really speak to, and that it showcases your expertise. And this one is very important. It will make your interviewer thrilled to have you on, because a lot of times on a TV show especially, they have just gone from one subject to the next, to the next, to the next. And a lot of times you don't know who's going to be interviewing you. They don't know what's coming up. And so that you avoid those awkward questions like, so tell us why you're here today, you've already got interview questions that they can read, they can peruse. And this serves two purposes. It makes the interview go much easier, but it also keeps you in control. So if your expertise is how to plant a garden on a small budget, this keeps them from getting off track about doing landscaping or what if I want to do this or that. It helps you control the interview, helps keep you more professional, and really keeps everything on topic so that you maximize that interview. Another great item to add are some of your top tips. If you're just getting started and you don't have a lot of testimonials, then the tip page really can help fill that gap for you. So if it's your main talking points or something that you really promote, this were 7 of the tips out of my book that I wrote, so that they had sound bites, and again, it might put an idea, spark an idea for the interviewer or the meeting planner to find out what else it is that you talk about, and they may want to include that. So if you've got those testimonials, by all means, I've got a slide coming up in a little bit about doing that too, but this can take the place if you're really short on testimonials, especially about being out in the public and speaking or anything like that. You can fill in with this. And since most of us are not sending hard copy media kits out, although you can still do that, and it's a great way to make sure it ends up on the right desk eventually, you can include links to whether it's YouTube's or this was one of my clients. She had quite a few testimonials that were done on video. So we had to see the audience reaction, and that really does help boost your credibility to that interviewer or meeting planner. So not every media kit would need a press release, but it's also great to include your media kit if you do have something that you're promoting. So something like a new product, or maybe you have a book that's coming out. Maybe you're holding a special event or a fundraiser, something in the community. You might have employee awards or a company milestone that is featured in the press release, but you certainly can include that with your media kit. Again, as that ties in, they may want to cover your company milestone, but now they see that you can also speak on these other topics. So it's a great way to maximize your exposure, put yourself out there as that subject matter expert. And depending on your audience, if you're speaking to educational groups, if you're going to schools and universities, a lot of times they will want to know specific learning outcomes. So if you can list that in with your topics, if you have a synopsis of what you're going to cover, and then what the outcome is, what students will learn, what the audience will learn, it's a great way to just verify that they're getting the topic that they want and that you're covering the things that they're expecting you to. Another thing you can put on there is an excerpt from your book. That could be a page, it could be an entire chapter. You may have an online blog with some great articles that you were proud of. That's something that you could also do, or you could just link that in your media kit. Again, more ways for that potential interviewer or the meeting planner to find out as much as they can about you without them having to do the digging. Remember, we want to make it as easy for them to do their job so that they love having you. You come back and, just like the guy talking about toilets, he's on regularly. The guy does not have to buy advertising in order to be on. He's their subject matter expert. He gives them great story ideas, and he gets the time. So if you are an author of a book or several books, then a book biography is also something that you can include in that media kit. So it doesn't really talk about you specifically. It talks more about the book, a little bit about how that came about or where you got the idea or how you use it to help your audiences. So you can have several books listed on one. You don't have to overload. Certainly they may find that they want more information on one in particular, but this biography sheet can certainly go into your media kit as well. So now that you've got that put together, it's time to start promoting yourself. So these links are also in the handout that you can download today. But first of all, have a tab on your website so that if someone's checking you out, that they can just go and download your media kit and start getting information that way. And then you can start looking for other opportunities. So two places that are always in demand that need speakers or just subject matter experts to be there, the directoryassociations.com and the exhibiteffects.com trade show calendar will show you what's coming up. You can search by area, so if you want to see if there's something local coming to your area that you might want to just say, hey, I'm available in case your main speaker drops out. These are both places that you can find out organizations who have conferences, trade shows, that sort of thing, so that you can get an hour on stage. A lot of the trade shows, I know recently at our Home and Garden show, there were people that were on the main stage. They were local people that had a pitch, and they were able to snag that hour and get an audience. Then there's some other sites. Help a Reporter Out, Harrow, Radio Guest List, Pitch Rate. These are all ones that you can subscribe. They have a free service, and then they also have a paid if you want more in depth. But they send out, there may be a reporter looking for someone to talk about student loans or, again, fixing your garden, whatever it might be. And so you get a daily rundown of who they're out there looking for experts so that you can talk. So this is a great way, check it once a day, see if there's opportunities for you, and you've got that media kit ready to go. So there's no excuse to just say, well, I'll do that later. Jump on these opportunities because you just don't know how they may lead to something bigger for you. So my biggest point for you today is just be prepared. It doesn't have to be perfect, but get something put together so that you don't miss these opportunities. Don't have a conversation with someone and say, oh yeah, I'll send you a press kit later or a media kit later. Tell them it's on my website. I've got it ready to go. That way it shows that you're serious about being out there and sharing your expertise. Even if you don't want to be on a big stage, you just want to be the local guru on TV, whatever it is, this is a great way to get free publicity. You're not paying for airtime. You're not paying for expensive advertising. You're being put out there to the public as an expert in this area. And so naturally, people are going to want to find out more about you. So it's absolutely important that no matter what business, remember the hardware guy was on TV talking about toilets. Obviously, he has more stuff because he has a hardware store, but that puts him top of mind for people when they need to go get advice on the right part to get or a tool or something they need. Take advantage. These are golden opportunities. So I'd love to invite you over to join my Facebook group where I share a lot more strategies and information about your marketing message, the copy makeover, so that your content is really on target and reaching your audience. So that's copymakeover.group. That's also on the handout, and would love to have you there. So thanks for listening today. I hope you found this valuable. Please leave any comments or questions in the comments, and I will certainly get back to you. And if you want more help in writing your own media kit, I'm not sure what all that entails for you, love to hear from you. It's Susan at asapwritingservices.com. Thanks, and good luck with your media kit.